Have you ever wondered why dealing with the government online can feel so broken? Like you're in a city full of shiny new buildings, but there are absolutely no roads connecting them. Well, today we're going to dive into what it really takes to build a smart government, one that actually works for us.
You know the feeling, right? You need to do two simple things, but suddenly you're juggling 3 different websites, 3 different passwords you can't remember. It's just clunky. It feels like the tax office and the DMV have literally never spoken to each other. So what's the deal, and how do we fix it?
This quote just nails it. The solution isn't about making slightly better digital candles. We don't need small fixes to systems that are fundamentally disconnected. We need a totally new way of thinking. We need to flip the switch and invent the light bulb.
Okay, so here's the root of the problem. This digital disconnect. Basically, every government department, the tax folks, the health agency, you name it, they all build their own little digital islands. We call them silos. And for us, the citizens, trying to navigate between them feels like getting lost in a maze.
But what if there was a master plan, a blueprint for the entire digital city, making sure every new service connects to the whole thing? Well, there is. It's a big idea, a discipline called enterprise architecture.
So, what on earth is enterprise architecture, or EA? Think of it as the ultimate rulebook for an organization. It's the master plan that lays out how all the different parts, the business side and the tech side, are supposed to work together, so everyone is building towards the same goal. And this, right here, is the perfect way to understand it. Enterprise architecture is the city plan. It's not concerned with the plumbing inside one single house. That's a different job. No, EA is what makes sure the roads, the power grid, and the water mains connect to every single house. It's the big picture that makes the whole city function.
Now, this kind of journey doesn't happen overnight. Governments have to evolve. They start with just a basic website. Then they add some forms so you can interact a little. After that, you can actually complete transactions online. But the holy grail, the end goal that needs that city plan, is transformation. A truly connected government that feels like one single seamless service.
So you might be wondering, has any country actually built this digital city? Oh yeah. Let's take a look at Singapore. They've been using this city planning approach for their digital world for decades.
And what's wild about this is the timeline. This wasn't some 5-year plan. They started laying the groundwork way back in 1980. You can see the progression. First computers, then shared infrastructure, then getting agencies to work together, all leading up to a plan for truly integrated services. This is a marathon, not a sprint, folks.
So how'd they do it? They literally created blueprints. First, they defined what the government actually does. Then, they standardized how information gets shared between departments. They even created a library of reusable tools, so nobody has to reinvent the wheel. And finally, they set the technical standards for everyone to follow. Genius.
And get this, the level of detail is just mind-blowing. That first blueprint, the business model, it's not some vague mission statement. No, it breaks down the entire business of government into 137 specific functions. Every single thing is accounted for. Now that is planning.
And to make sure everybody actually used the blueprints, they created something called Magenta. Just think of it as the official government-issued construction guide. It's a step-by-step manual that makes sure every new digital project fits perfectly into the bigger city plan.
Okay, but having a beautiful blueprint doesn't mean the city builds itself, right? Construction is messy, things go wrong, and for a little dose of reality, let's look at South Korea's experience, which is a great reminder that having the plan is one thing, executing it is another.
And right away, in South Korea, you can see the cracks start to form. This chart is pretty telling. Look at that steady drop in the budget for enterprise architecture. Without consistent funding, the best city plan in the world is just going to sit on a shelf and collect dust.
And here's another huge piece of the puzzle. This chart shows how they were using the plan. See that? Almost half the time, it was just for high-level planning and budgeting, not for the actual hands-on work of building and running IT systems. It basically became a bureaucratic checkbox instead of a practical tool for the people on the ground.
And what was the result? Well, this number says it all. When officials were actually asked, hey, how useful is this thing? They gave it a score of just 2.64 out of 5. Yikes, that's a massive gap between the plan on paper and its value in the real world.
So the lessons here are crystal clear. You got to have a steady budget and people who know what they're doing. The plan has to be a living document, not something that's instantly out of date. And most importantly, you have to treat this as an ongoing way of doing business, not a one-and-done project that just creates a pile of reports.
All right, so we've looked at the massive citywide view. Now let's zoom all the way in. Let's look at a single, super important building, a hospital, to see what happens when you get this architecture right. Because this is where good planning literally saves lives.
Just look at something like telerehabilitation. A well-architected system lets patients get care remotely. Compare that to the old way, dragging yourself to a clinic over and over, losing time at work, especially if you live far away. This isn't just a small improvement. It completely changes how healthcare is delivered.
And the impact is real. You can measure it. For stroke patients, this kind of service adds, on average, 0.85 quality-adjusted life years. That's a fancy term that means people are not just living longer, they're living better. Good architecture leads to better health. Period. Or how about this? A study in Sweden found that using AI in mammography screening saved almost 60,000 euros for every 1,000 patients. And even more amazing, it added nearly 11 quality-adjusted life years. You're saving money and saving lives. That's the power of building smart from the ground up.
But listen, none of these incredible innovations mean a thing without a secure foundation. Patient health data is 50 times more valuable to criminals than your credit card number. A single data breach costs on average $11 million and can take almost a full year to fix. Just like a city needs secure utilities, a digital hospital needs rock-solid security baked in from day one.
So that brings us back to where we started, with this idea of a city planner. The next time you're trying to get something done online with the government, ask yourself this. Are they building a connected, modern, digital city designed for the future? Or are they just slapping a new coat of asphalt on the same old, winding, disconnected roads? The answer really matters.